little ironic that the first time the Grizzlies faced the Jazz in the postseason, you're now with the Jazz, a number one seed, looking to maybe take a deep run, and now you're having to face a team that they're calling themselves the next generation in Memphis.
Yeah, man. I told myself last night something must be happening the way that things are just lining up. Um, ironically enough. So, no, it is a coincidence, but the Grizzlies are and have always been a team that's fought and been a hardworking organization, and guys just really have bought into that. And especially those young guys there now, and they've been unbelievable, especially in this last stretch of the season, and have been playing some really good ball. So we're anxious to get out there. We haven't played in a while, so we're anxious to get out there and compete against those guys.
Sarah Todd, Deseret News.
Mike, when we talked to you a few days ago, you said that you couldn't have imagined that this would have been the situation playing the Grizzlies. Do you feel like you have an advantage in that sense, that it could be almost like a home and home series for you?
I wouldn't necessarily say it's an advantage. Obviously, I haven't been on the other end of playoff ball in Memphis. I know how great the fans are there when they're rooting for you, but I don't know what it's like when they're against you. So looking forward to that. It's a new chapter for me, and it'll be fun to compete in the city that was home for me for so long, and against a team that's playing so well.
Eric Walden, Salt Lake Tribune.
Mike, what have you seen from the Grizzlies recently that maybe you didn't see from them, when you guys played them 3 times in the span of, less than a week earlier in the season?
Well, I think they're getting healthier. I think guys are starting to get back in the lineup. Jaren Jackson, I think Grayson didn't play one of the games in that 3-game span that we played against them. And with, their guys getting, short up their rotation a little bit, and all the guys are playing confident. They're not doing, anything different. They've always been a team that plays hard. They're doing a better job closing out games, as you see in the last few games. They've won in the play-in tournament. They've been close, and they've made big plays, from top to bottom. So I think that's been big for them is their guys, each individual guy kind of stepping up at the right moment and allowing them to continue to win.
Andy Larson, Salt Lake Tribune.
Mike, where were you watching that game last night, and kind of what were your thoughts as they get that lead early, lose it a little bit late, and then are able to overcome in overtime?
Well, I was actually at dinner with my wife. It was the one night we had to go out to eat, and I had my phone, and I told her I got to work regardless of the situation that we're in. So put my phone up on the table and was watching the game. She was watching it with me, obviously. And I just, knowing the Grizzlies and knowing, that city and the way that they carry themselves, that you knew that they're going to fight to the end, and that this wasn't going to be a game that was going to be neither won by 20 or lost by 20, that it was going to come down to the end. And both teams fought hard, and it was a really good game to watch on both ends, because for us, we didn't know who we were going to play. So I was kind of scouting on both sides there, trying to call out each play for Golden State and call out each play for Memphis. And so it was a unique situation for us all to kind of watch that.
Ben Anderson, KSLSports.com.
Mike, minus the fact that you're not in a bubble and your wife's not going into labor, what's different about going into this series versus what it was last year? What's the biggest change for you?
Well, I think for me, it's a sense of comfort. I think from top to bottom, I felt really comfortable in my role this year, and how I'm used and how I can be effective for our team. And I think the bubble kind of helped expedite that. And now with everybody healthy, with Boyan back, with guys like Derek Favors coming in the offseason, with Georgie taking a step, with Royce taking a step up. I mean, everybody has really bought into their role so much that we feel really comfortable and confident with what we have, and feel like we can go to bat against anybody. So this season is not as much in question or, trying to find ourselves or figure out different things. We know who we are, and we just have to, make sure that machine is running and it runs the longest.
Clayton Collier, ABC Memphis.
Mike, kind of a two-parter, just, the elevation that we saw for the respect around the league for Ja Morant last night after going, toe-to-toe with Steph Curry in that one. Just how impressed are you at how far he's come in such a short amount of time? And then as a former Grizzly, are you able to enjoy last night, seeing kind of what that meant for Memphis, or is it kind of more just immediately going into a mode?
Oh yeah, well, firstly, yeah, you recognize Ja's talent from day one, and it's only a matter of time before he, finds that balance of, knowing who he is and going out there and doing it every night, and on the biggest stages, most importantly. So for him to go out there and come out and play against, a high level player in Steph and in the defensive, situations that he was put in with Draymond and those guys trying to hawk him a little bit, and he just was patient with the ball and doing the things that he does down the stretch and making plays was impressive. And I think everybody took notice of it on the big stage, and he's just continually getting better. So it'll be fun to watch him grow, continue to develop, and he's still got a higher ceiling ahead of him. So, but as far as rooting for Memphis, I wasn't necessarily rooting for either team. I'm obviously happy for fans of Memphis that they have something to continue to root for going forward. Obviously, it's business for me, so I'm gonna be locked in and ready to go and excited for the challenge.
Drew Hill, Daily Memphian.
Mike, obviously the Grizzlies have a lot of players that will be playing in their first ever playoff series. When you look back on your career, what do you remember about your first ever playoff series?
My first ever playoff series was in San Antonio, so it was, you're playing against Tony Parker, Ginobili, and Pop, and Tim Duncan. So guys I idolized. So it was the the most ready I've probably ever been for a situation, because I was just almost a necessary fear in a sense. I was like, okay, I can't let them out prepare me. I got to be prepared for everything. I know how great they are, so let me be ready. So it was a night before where I couldn't sleep, and I was up early, ready to go, and the environment was probably more crazy than I expected, but it was one that I'll never forget, and I think it just kind of helped me going forward to have kind of gotten that out of the way in such a hostile environment like being in San Antonio.
Sarah Todd, Deseret News.
Mike, I'm sure that time is going to be tight and you'll be busy while you're in Memphis, and assuming that there's also going to be certain restrictions still. But is there thinking, once I'm there, that's who I want to see, or that's where I want to go?
I still have family there. I still have a lot of family there, a lot of cousins and my grandparents. Everybody is, within 45 minutes of that city. So I'm sure, given the protocols and, people being vaccinated and whatnot, that the right circumstances arise, I'll be able to see, familiar faces here and there. But for the most part, they know how I am during the playoffs, and I kind of lock myself in and, don't really do much. I kind of stay in the room and, just concentrate on basketball, and they forgive me if I don't get a chance to see them.
All right, Evan Barnes, Commercial Appeal.
Right, kind of going back to what you said about how different it's going to feel to be back in FedEx Forum as a visiting member for the playoffs. What do you remember most about just the crowd and the fans cheering you guys on with those old Grizzlies, and kind of how do you expect maybe to receive it now on the other end, if you can think about it?
Well, you look back at all the great series that we've played, and big moments, and the highs and lows. They were always standing up. They're always waving the growl towels. They were just being obnoxious towards the other team and just being loud, and just finding opportunities to raise the tempo a little bit, raise the temperature a little bit. And that's what the Grizzlies fans have always been, especially in the playoffs. It like goes up a few more notches. So I remember that all too well in every series, and I'm looking forward to experiencing it again and being on the other side. I'm not sure how many fans will be allowed with the COVID restrictions, but I'm sure it'll be very loud, and they'll be very passionate about going forward in this series.
All right, that's all the time we have. So thanks so much, Mike, for joining.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.